Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now in this video, we're going to talk about the difference about what is and then what can be materialized or fabricated to something else that no longer resembles what is. What was originally provided to your awareness that can then become something else. And I tell you, we do that all the time as the human, especially as the human, guided through mind, through thought, through mentality. So what I'm going to do in regards to this video is talk about a particular example that was provided to me in a session, but this happens a lot, right? This example is actually not just one-off, but I see this a lot, okay? So let's just dive straight into it. Now, at the start of a session, for anybody that has done a session with me will be aware of how that kind of flows the session, right? From when we intervene at the start. But for the people that are not aware of it, I give my client 5 or 10 minutes at the start to talk about the focuses that they want to provide for the session, the things that we want to work on. And in this particular example, the client went on mentioning about them going to a practitioner, right, to a medical doctor about an issue, and they went straight into then what those diagnostics showed, right? So, for example, the blood test showed this, the scans showed that, right? And then out of that, they were then presented a diagnosis from that practitioner, from that medical doctor. Okay. Now, at that time, I stopped the client and I said, hey, let's just take a few steps back. And I said, what was the reason why you reached out to that medical practitioner, that doctor in the first place? And of course, they said it was because I didn't feel very good. Okay. So straight away, I brought a realization, awareness to them that, that was the original first discernment presented to them through the body, was that something didn't feel good, right? They felt uneasy, okay, which is a discernment through the body, right? And we've got to understand that that first discernment is what is, okay, right? You're experiencing that in that moment, in that now. It's presented through the body. Now, the body expresses itself through symptoms, and those symptoms are generally what is felt through the body. Okay. At Truly Holistic, we talk about, as the human, we experience two forms of discernment, right? Which is what is felt, which is more in line with what comes through intuitively and instinctively from the heart. And we also get thought, mentality comes from the mind. Now, the body generally communicates through the avenue of what is felt through the heart and then comes through what we call the interface, which is the body. But the problem here is, as the human, we are generally conditioned or programmed to use as our primary discernment mode to understand and figure out what's going on out of mind and out of thought and out of mentality, which disconnects ourselves from what is. Okay, so we're going to get into this a bit more because this is very important. And a lot of people are not aware of this. Okay, so what I teach a lot of people at Truly Holistic is this aspect of providing your natural state, right, which is called a state of being, right? This is why we're classified as human beings. And I always quite often give the cosmic joke to my clients that we're called human beings, but a majority of humans don't know how to be, right? And a big reason for that is we're classified as human beings, and that being state is our natural state, but we get conditioned to use thought, mentality, and mind as our primary discernment method, which means we will not present our natural state, right? Which really is a cosmic joke. And And then we wonder why we're having all these problems, right? Or health problems going on. Now, so a big aspect at the heart of truly holistic is to remove what you're not to facilitate what you are. And of course, what you're not is, all the creation that happens through applying your energy out from the guidance of mind, thought, and mentality, and instead facilitating an open heart to provide, an intuitive and instinctual discernment method that is more bound and connected to what is. Okay. So naturally, when we experience what is, right, what is felt, but then we choose to use mind, thought, and mentality to try and get our head around what we're perceiving, what we're experiencing, and try and understand it, the more we then move ourselves away from what is, right? That original message that the body presented to you, right? Meaning we are going on a road or an avenue through mind, through thought, through mentality that is going to sidetrack us to fully understanding what that first form of discernment meant in the first place. What is, right? And out of that process, out of the ifs, the maybes, right? If we go into Google and I've given these symptoms, it could be that person had that. Our own energy is going about creating those things that might not be connected to what is, what the body was trying to tell you to begin with, right? And we start to get all these problems, and then that's what we believe what was actually going on, but we're creating that out of our own energy, which means to remedy that is to become aware of how we are applying our own energy, not something that is out of our control, but that something that actually is about how we apply ourselves. Right? And this is a very important note. Okay, so the mind will generally shape what is into something else. And the mind tends to then apply our attention and our intention, how we apply our energy, into more of the worries, the concerns, and the fears, which are very much the things we don't even want. But now we get them. Okay, not because of things outside of ourselves, out of our control, but because we've lost sight of how we are applying our own energy, which is a very self-empowering realization, because we need to make a change. The easiest place to make a change is with ourselves, right? So, let's go back to how a medical practitioner would then take upon what you felt, right? That experience, and use a very mind, mentality, thought process, right? Which is to do with analyzing, being cerebral, compartmentalization of that experience, right? Through whether it's taking blood tests, whether it's doing scans, and then putting what that person experienced through feel, but now an interpretation from thought, into a label as a diagnosis. And the problem is that client then, or individual, will then embody that discernment and carry it with them. And embodiment means that they take something that wasn't originally provided from within, which is what the body gave off as that symptom, what you felt, what is. But these interpretations, these things that are not you, and you bring it in, and it now becomes part of your physiology, which is the embodiment. That's what that means. To embody it is to bring it, and now it becomes part of your physiology. Didn't have to be, but now you're making it so. Because when we embody a diagnosis, and why then all of a sudden it's hard, we can't seem to get rid of it because it's like a monkey on my back, It's because your own energy is feeding it for it to be there. Right? Doesn't matter how many things I bring in, supplements, medications, dietary changes, things outside of me, it doesn't seem to shift. I wonder why. Because it's part of how you apply your energy. It's about you. It's not about things outside of you. It's always been about you. Okay. Right. And of course, I'm being very stern about this realization, but the beauty of this is the empowerment of it, because it's up to you to change it. You don't need things outside of you to change it. It's about you. Okay. Which is the great news, right? So, we need to be very careful on and how we perceive and process what we experience. And a big thing at Truly Holistic is about getting you to remain the heart, because you can now sit with what the body is presenting to you. Because I kind of like saying it's, if you are going to try and interpret and understand what the body's presenting you, but out of thought, out of mentality, out of mind, it's like you're having a conversation at a table where both individuals or both participants are speaking their own tongue and don't interpret the other person's language, which means that conversation goes nowhere, which means there's a lack of understanding, a lack of interpretation going on, right? Where if you stay in the heart, right, remain feeling into your body, connecting with the body in the way it naturally expresses itself, again through feel, then those two individuals at the table can speak in the same tongue. They can fully understand each other. They can fully interpret what's going on. Okay? This is very important. We're creators of reality. So any way that we go about perceiving and processing our reality, we are giving off and forging our own energy into creation. Okay? So we've got to be very careful where that energy goes, which is a discernment and awareness of how we apply ourselves. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, because it's very important. And as I say, I use a specific example at the start, but this is a general example that's generally experienced from me as the healer, as the guide, as the coach, in regards to what I see from my clients. Very important. Why? Because we were all in the same boat as the human. We were all conditioned and programmed as the human to become something that the world needed us to become, not essentially what we authentically are, and becoming the human through the embodiment of a discernment mode that was mind, thought, and mentality. And what we're generally seeing across the board with all illnesses is that they are a byproduct of perceiving and processing our reality with a discernment mode or method that doesn't support us, which is mind, thought, mentality. Our natural state is to bypass the mind and its thoughts, to drop in the heart and allow our ability to feel into a situation, to feel into it. And that feeling we get from it, just like in this example, is a discernment method we can trust. It is connected to what is, not a manipulation, not a misinterpretation, not a misunderstanding of what is, but simply what is. And that's something we can trust. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like the video. Please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing to the channel to get more content like this. Also, push the notification bell to be notified of when the next video will be dropped. If you'd like to book an appointment with me for healing or for reality coaching, go to trulyholistic.net/appointments/. If you have any questions below, please don't hesitate to ask me any questions. I'd be happy to answer those. Until next time.